Hey, hey, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome. Hey, Mel. How are you?
I'm good, Jam. How are you?
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Living Learn with Gemini Goddess. I apologize for the background noise. I am still on the street. My son has swimming, so I'm trying to multitask. You know how it is, mommy mode. But, okay, let's jump into the show. Tonight we are back with Mel B. She's going to be continuing on from the emotional story that she had for us last week. So we're going to continue on. Um, as you all remember, or if in case you don't remember, we do have a disclaimer for the show, and basically it is everyone is entitled to their opinion. However, you are not entitled to share your opinion. You can ask questions. You and your questions will be answered. However, here on Living Learn with Gemini Goddess, we do not cast our opinions on anybody because everybody sees life and lives life in a different way. So we listen and we don't judge. Basically, that is how we do it around here. So we are just going to jump into it and get started. Mel, are you ready, darling?
Always, always ready to go. First, I would like to say that for everyone to know and understand that this is my story, my views, and my opinions are not those of J.A.B Entertainment, Lux Radio, or Live and Learn. But first, we were going to give a birthday shout out to someone special.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Shabako, happy birthday
Happy
to the faith
birthday,
god
my brother.
himself.
Just wanted to get that
Happy
out there in case he's watching or in case he's listening. We still celebrate this day that is his, all his. So where
And
do I
even if he isn't watching, anybody who is watching, you can always go check out Chavaco's videos on YouTube or all major streaming platforms. And don't say I didn't warn you because Chavaco is an amazing artist. So
sure
we're just letting
is.
you know.
He sure is. He sure is. Okay.
Okay, so back to the regular scheduled program.
Um, I remember where I left off and I'm just trying to figure out how to, start it off today. Well, today, I just want to share something that isn't easy, but it's necessary. Um, something that many of us suffer through in silence, um, but too many of us carry alone. Um, for a long time, I battled behind closed doors um, because I had no one to talk to, confide in. Um, didn't have money for therapy or anything like that, but I wasn't strong enough or ready at the time. Um, not because I didn't know better, but because I was just in survival mode and um, trying to survive is something that was just slowly destroying me from the inside out. And what I'm referring to is the awakening of a different type of abuse, which is domestic abuse. Um, my first um, time, per se, of dealing with domestic abuse, I was pregnant with my oldest daughter. Um, my child's father and I were breaking up, and he didn't want that. I did, though, because he was cheating. Um, and he pushed me over a couch and blacked my eye. Now, that was the first time I actually had to deal with it as being older. So, of course, and I seen my mother go through it. So I was just once again thinking that this is normal. I didn't share it with anyone. I didn't tell anyone until, of course, when my eyes started turning, I had no choice but to say something. Um, and it didn't go over well, but of course, being a hard-headed teenager, it didn't stop me from seeing or dealing with him either. Um, and that's what many of our teenage girls are going through as well. Um, they're being in these relationships with their boyfriends and not telling anyone. They might confide in a friend, but of course, sworn to secrecy until something terrible really happens. Um, and as far as going through it as an adult, there's so many layers, layers to it, especially when you have children. For me, like I said, my first encounter was as a teen, later on as a wife. I went through domestic violence for 11 years. Um, to an alcoholic. And my first priority was never myself, worried about being, hurt or anything. I was worried about how it was affecting my children. And because I know what I saw when I was younger, and I didn't want them to grow up thinking that that was normal. I wanted them to have their voice. I wanted them to be stronger than I was. But I endured because I had no support. Where would I go? What would I do? How would I support myself? Being a young mother with young children. Um, and domestic abuse doesn't always start with a bruise. It can start with emotional abuse. Sometimes it starts with charm. Other times it starts with broken promises. Um, until you pretty much forget who you are. And by me not really even knowing who I really was, I dealt with it. And one of the main reasons was why I continued to deal with it was because I didn't grow up with my father. And I didn't want my kids to grow up without theirs. But it was a double-edged sword because although I wanted that for my children, I also didn't want them to grow up thinking that this was normal, this was what you accept. I didn't want that. And I couldn't hide most of my bruises day in and day out. You know, I would scream in silence, if that makes sense to those that are going through it or have been through it, know what that means. Um, I didn't make any friends. I didn't tell anyone because my bruises and stuff were starting to become harder and harder to hide. As my kids got
Um,
older, hmm, go ahead.
can you just let everybody know like how old you were at the time with your first daughter?
Um, my first encounter, I was 15, like I said, with my child's father. Um, I was married early. I got married at a couple of months shy of my 18th birthday. So like I said, I dealt with that for 11 years. Um, so I was still too young to really understand who I was. But as I was maturing, um, I was just bitter. I didn't want to be around people. Like I said, I didn't make friends because I didn't want to have to explain myself. Um, but my most important thing was my kids. But I went through that with, it seems like almost every relationship after that. And I started to think it was me. like I was just a punching bag magnet or something. Because, I mean, nobody comes with a warning sign on their forehead. And the beginning is always, they're nice, they're charming, they're sweet, they, the beginnings of a relationship. And then for some reason, out of the blue, it's like a light switch. I knew nothing about red flags. I didn't know how to listen to my intuition. And I say these things because, like I've mentioned before, a lot of our teenage girls don't know either. And it hurts my heart to know and see how many of them nowadays in today's society are going through these things. They're being abused in so many different ways. But social media plays a lot of part in that too. But what I really want to focus on today is the path back to myself. And it has been a long, long road for me, being in an abusive relationship, pretty much after abusive relationship, good one in between there, and then again back to it. And I've always been asked, why do you stay? And many women are asked that same question. But until you walk a mile in a woman's shoes that has been abused, that's not a fair question to ask, and is receive an answer that's, acceptable to you. Being in an abusive relationship, like I said before, has many different layers. It has many layers, many reasons. But the one reason is survival. You're trying to survive the best way you can until you figure out your escape route to get out. I've been to women's shelters. I've been in women's shelters. I've been in shelters, homeless, to get away. But of course, at this time, my kids were older, grown, life of their own. But I was still going through the same thing. And I couldn't understand why. Until I had to ask myself, Mel, what about you? You take care of everyone else, but you. My turning point wasn't as dramatic, as a lot of situations. My spark for love was gone. My spark for wanting to be in a relationship was gone. It was draining. But I was showing up for everyone else but myself. The man in my life, friends in my life. I was showing up for everyone else, but no one was showing up for me. No one was trying to help me either. Even the so-called friends I had would just turn their a blind eye. Family, a blind eye.
So was there ever any like particular incident or person or situation that kind of opened up your eyes to what was going on and like what helped you to take this turning point?
The last relationship I was in was an abusive one, physically, but more emotionally than anything. The guy I was with, maybe about 8 months into the relationship, was suddenly incarcerated. And that mental abuse of someone being incarcerated after being physically abused is still there. It's still that fear, because I was in a state alone, no family, no friends, just me. But he had a really huge family, and all of them knew our state. So it was more or less one of those things: if you don't put money on my books, if you don't come see me, if you don't do this, you don't do that, I'm going to send someone over there and take care of you, per se. This went on for months and months until he made one statement. And that one statement, like, lit a fire under my behind, really. He told me he hoped lupus killed me before he do. That right there, for some reason, like, life came into me. My voice came back. My strength came back. And it took someone to literally say they were pretty much going to kill me. Even
So
knowing,
not only so
go
not
ahead.
only were you dealing with so not only were you dealing with all these abusive situations with all these people, but you were also battling an autoimmune disease.
Hmm.
Wow.
He knew he can say anything, you know, to get me riled up or whatever. And after a while, I didn't anymore. So he would try anything to say anything to get me to his level, and nothing would. Because the more he emotionally abused me, it seems like the stronger I was getting, because I knew different, you know. But when he said those words to me, that's when I knew just how heartless someone that says that they love you can really be. Knowing what I'm already dealing with, you throw that in my face, but then you also say you're going to end my life and you hope that does before you do. Hmm. 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 That triggered the side of me nobody wants to see. That side that has all the built up anger, hatred, all the negative feelings you can feel. And at that moment, when he said it, I was just so much in shock. All I can do is just stare at the phone like, did this just say that? After all I've done. That's right then is when I felt like ain't nobody in this world but me. Nobody's in this world's gonna help me but me. I gotta stand up and help myself. I gotta stand up and change this situation. I gotta grow my pair, in other words. So at that point, after that point, I realized how loud my voice can be just by the words that come out my mouth. I was scared, but my determination to live through everything that I've been through was greater than those words he spoke to me. People can imagine, you know, a person leaving a relationship like this, you know, because they are probably stronger and you know, got family or whatever to help them do that. But when you're alone and you have kids, or you're somewhere where you know no one, you've had no one, you think different. So I had to think on my feet consistently until I was able to escape. And he was one of those types that, when they incarcerated, of course, they want to call you back to back to back to back all day long. So I couldn't even work. I couldn't do pretty much anything without the phone consistently ringing if I was not on the phone with him. So he always had to know where I was. So trying to escape this, especially when he was getting out any day. So I had to just pause and think how I'm going to do this. Because if I don't answer the phone, he's going to send somebody to my house. So I was consistently answering the phone. I would just answer it and put the phone down, just let him just talk. And I would throw in a every now and then, just so that he wasn't knowing what I was doing. But at that time, I was packing. I packed my whole house in 48 hours. The movers were there in 3 days. That determination, like I said, when you want to and you have that opportunity to get out, take it. No matter how slight it might be, take it and run. Because your life means more than dealing with somebody that ain't got it all. And obviously a man or a female that is willing to say some things like that to you or threaten your life ain't got it all. But do you really want to be there to find that out? I didn't. I've had to run like that for my life twice. Never again. Never again. I promised myself, the last promise I did make to myself, never again will I go through anything I've been through ever again in my life. And I would definitely make sure I hold that up like I did as I was a child. I'm holding that promise. But the women that are out there that are going through it now or have ever gone through it, know that you are not alone at all. There are a lot of us that out here that have survived these type of relationships, that have come above it, risen above them, and haven't looked back. It's not an easy road. It does take time, but believe me, you will get through it. You will. Hopefully you
Yeah,
have
and
support. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. No, hopefully you have support, or if not, you know where to get support. Um, Go ahead, Jim. What were you gonna say?
No, I just wanted to add on to it that a lot of women and men, well, a lot of people in the situations, they look at it and says, "Oh well, you know, he doesn't hit me. Um, you know, it's he's in. We make excuses.
Yeah.
He doesn't hit me. It's not. He was in a bad mood. I made him angry."
Hmm.
Listen, love does not hurt. Not
That's right.
like that.
Right.
And if someone is making you, whether it's if someone is physically abusing you, emotionally abusing you, financially abusing you, because a lot of people don't even realize that financial abuse is a
It sure
situation
is.
too.
Yep.
There's, like there's the oh, you can't go to work, you need to stay home and take care of the kids, but then they watch every dollar that you make and every dollar that you
Mm-hmm.
spend and make you feel like you can't do anything without him or her because they're making the money and
Right.
they're controlling everything. There's
Right.
the financial, there's the emotional, there's the physical, there's so many different types of abuse,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard to identify it, and it's even harder to get away from it. But again, love should not have any of those stipulations, and it should not
Mm-hmm.
hurt you in a way to make you feel less than or be scared.
Right. 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 But the aftermath of leaving an abusive relationship can be just as bad as being in that relationship. And I say that because um, that's when the healing starts. And my healing started mm, actually maybe a couple years ago. I decided to heal myself because, like I said before, no one wanted to touch or assist me in dealing with my childhood trauma, my teenage trauma. No one wanted to help me. So I felt like I had to do it myself. It was uncomfortable, um, confusing, and I was always asking myself, how did I get here? How did I let myself get here? Why did I stay so long? But then it was like, was it that bad? And then, will anybody really, will I be labeled? You know, but then I had to answer those questions for myself. And how I answered is that I forgave myself. Yeah, I stayed in a relationship too long that I shouldn't have been in, long as I was to be abused. Um, how did I get here? The choices that I made, you know, yes, they were all that bad. Some were beyond my control. Can I blame myself for some? Yeah, yeah. But not only have I been abandoned by others, I abandoned myself. It was, I had always like either read or saw something on TV about domestic violence. It's not, back then, it wasn't as, voiced and laws and everything. Back then, it was more of a hush hush and behind closed doors type thing. Not how out in the open it is now. But I pretty much abandoned myself, but I was protecting them in a way because my silence was saying it was okay. So I take my fault in that for myself because that was a decision I made, but out of
But that
survival.
was also but that was also what you were taught.
And like I said, out of survival. And my survival modes are different than other people. And but then I look at it too as so are my views, so are my opinions. Um, I did what I had to do at the time that I felt was right. And out of all of it, I would take hit after hit after hit again to save my children from the life I had to go through. I would take that pain. And like I said before, I raised beautiful, strong, boisterous women. I raised women better than myself. And that's one thing I can say that of all the bull I've been through, that's the one thing I can say that I am proud of. Well, the second. The second is that I gained the courage to say when enough was enough. I gained the courage to um, seek help within, from within. I didn't need nobody else's help, you know. And that might be, you know, the reason why I'm a little slower at um, in my healing journey at this time. But no matter what, I'm still going. I'm still moving forward in my journey. I haven't stopped, you know. It's just a little bit, it's baby steps. I mean, I went through a lot to get to where I am now. So it's no stopping me. Um, so with that abandonment, I also gained forgiveness. Forgiving, I have I have understood that um, me forgiving ain't for them in a way it is, because you know the mentality I have at this point, you know, yeah, I have to forgive you because I know how I am now. I know how defensive, how, you know, angry I could get. And I don't want to be that, I don't want to go back to trying to be that person of retaliation. See, in a past relationship I did have, I was with someone that was, let's say, a street pharmacist. So a lot of the anger that I did have in that relationship, I'll just say this, that I was able to let out a lot of anger towards others that deserved it. So
All
I
that will be
released,
in the book. So we're not going to give too much information because there is a book coming out, but
yeah,
just a little prelude.
I'll say that. I'll leave it at that, because as we said earlier, statutes of limitations are
Yep.
existing or not existing. um, so
Certain
I found
things that
a
are
way.
mentioned on this episode may or may not be true. Yeah, so we're just gonna leave. Yeah.
Exactly, fiction or not fiction,
Yeah.
fact or fiction
Yeah.
per se. Um, but I found ways to, you know, relieve anger. I also went to the gym, so I relieved stress and anger that way too. So I was learning to find different ways to cope with what I had been through and what I was going through. Um, but healing,
So after, sorry,
mm,
after last week, I had a lot of people reaching out to me and asking a lot of questions. One
mm,
of the main questions that was asked, and I decided that I would leave this here because it's not really my story to tell or for me to explain.
mm,
A lot of people would like to know what your relationship is like with your mother right now. If you don't want to talk about it, that's okay. But that was one of the questions that was asked. Like,
my mom, my mom's in a nursing home with dementia. Um, I see her as often as I can. But there's no asking about past there. There's no memory. Um, she barely remembers me. If I walk up to her and I don't say anything, she wouldn't know who I was. Um, but once I say, "Hey, Mom," she knows it's me by my voice. Um, Before my mom got sick, though, she's a breast cancer survivor. She has congestive heart failure, diabetes, and dementia. But before she got sick, um, my mom and I were pretty close, despite everything, because I was taught when I was 10 years old, honor thy mother and honor thy father. So I realized I couldn't dislike, hate, whatever. I couldn't be like that towards my mom because that's what God said not to do. So I never forgave my mom. And that's just to be honest. I never did. But I realized everybody, from things that I saw when I was younger, she went through her battles too. And that doesn't excuse what she let happen to me, but it helps with the understanding of why. But when my mom was well, we had a good relationship, you know. And those were the years that I put my past behind me so that I can move forward. I wish I had the mother-daughter relationship other of, between my mom and I, like I see that others have, but I never did. I never did. So that's why I made that promise when I was younger to make sure I was
Okay.
that mom for my kids.
A comment just came through. I'm really trying to forgive your mom, but she had plenty of times to apologize. It's funny how you are strong enough to forgive your mom, but us just hearing that story, we can't. We can't do it.
Yeah. And I
But
understand that.
understand.
Yeah. I understand that, but I'm not going to miss out on my blessings by not doing what God said not to do. And no matter what, I had to look at it as I only get one. Nobody's perfect. If I like it, don't like it or not, that's still my mother.
Man, I want to be like you when I grow up because I don't think I could. I don't know. You know what? You, I commend you for the person that you are, and that after going through all of that, that you are able to forgive and to move past and to be the person that you are right now, like the compassionate person that you are. Like it takes a very strong person to be able to, I wouldn't say overcome because I know that it affects you daily regardless of what, but to still push past all of that and still be a good person and not be filled with hatred and dissent and
Yeah. You know why? Because I don't like that person that I become when I didn't forgive her. That woman that I became out of anger and hatred and just I didn't like her. She was necessary at the time to help in her survival mode. I didn't like her. And that's why I'm like, she's still there. I can still feel her there. But if I have to be honest and true with myself, that's not who I am. I'm not going to be someone I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm never going to do that.
Yep, I understand that.
But
I think we all have that person, that other side of us that a lot of us we try to keep under wraps. Unfortunately, sometimes some people do not, and they allow that person. Because
overtake them.
I have mine. I have mine. She's chained up in the basement somewhere because I try not to let her out because she likes to light fires.
Yeah.
Someone wants to know how are you now?
Now, um, I'm still a very forgiving person. Um, I'm one of those people that are still learning how to say no, because I feel like if I'm willing, if I'm able to help someone, that's what I'm going to do. When I was homeless for 4 years, living in a shelter. My mental state was so bad that I was suicidal. I do not want to walk down that road ever again, because that is the darkest place ever. And I stayed there for years. I was on medication that made me numb. I couldn't be happy. I couldn't cry. I couldn't be sad. I had no emotion at all for years. But that was to keep me from taking my own life. It just got to be too much. And I was like, no one's ever helped me. Who's gonna miss me? I didn't care anymore. I didn't care. And the only person that did help me was my grandson. That's why he can get anything he wants from grandma. He told me, he asked me, Grandma, why you not happy? Why you look sad all the time? I don't want you to be happy. I don't want you to be sad. And the look on his face, damn near took me out. Because I had waited so long to hear someone say, I don't want you to be sad no more. And that came out of an 8-year-old's mouth.
Isn't it funny how the simplest
Yeah.
thing, you
Yeah.
know what my turning point was? I had a police officer, look at me and say to me, take your damn medication. Because in this world, it's the people who do not take medication for anxiety and for depression. It's those people that I worry about. Because anyhow, you can go through this world without being on some kind of medication. There's something wrong with you. question from the audience was, did how did this affect your kids?
My past or well,
Um, I, I'm guessing like
my
the whole journey.
my I didn't let my kids know till they were in their 20s. And well, at least my oldest daughter, she was like 19 because that's when she had her first child, my first grandbaby. So they were always like, "Mom, why you don't want the kids to go to daycare? Or, why you don't want them to go to the sleepover? Or why you don't want them to go here? Why you don't want them to go there?" And I would always say, "I have my reasons." So I had to realize that way too. I couldn't be overbearing and overprotective of their kids. That was something that's those their kids. You know what I mean? I'm just grandma.
But girl, that's a
But
black thing. We don't do sleepovers. We don't allow our kids to sleep over at people's houses. That's a black thing.
hello, yeah. But um, I did make sure that they did body cavity checks every time they came from school, from daycare, from wherever they went, that they were out of their sight, especially when
Wow.
they couldn't talk. You know, I was very protective of them, of course, when they were in my presence. But when my kids finally found out about my past, like I said, my oldest daughter was the only one there at my mom's house, um, and my brother was there. Um, and my mom always had this thing that she would always say. They used to just send chills and like nails on a chalkboard to me is when she would say, "I would never let anybody do anything to my kids." And I think this day I had it. I had heard it all my life and I had just had it. And I just turned to her and said, and I quote, "Fuck you mean?"
Ain't that a
I said, "That's
bitch?
a lie."
So, oh, sorry.
And I was like, "That's a lie," you know. And my brother looked at me like, "Mel, don't do it. Don't do it." I was like, "No, no, I'm not keeping my voice. I'm not, no, no more." So I said, why do you consist on lying about it?" And my daughter didn't understand why I was talking to my mom like that. And I said, "You knew everything. You didn't protect me ever. You even walked in and didn't do shit. So don't sit there and say you protect your kids. The fuck you don't." And my daughter was like just in awe. That's when she found out what my mom let happen to me. She just turned to my mom. She said, "Grandma, how could you? How could you?" And my mother just sat there with this blank expression over her face, like she didn't hear a word nobody said. But my daughter
Ain't
turned to
that
her.
a
She said,
bitch?
"Mom," she said, "now I know why you are the way you are." Yeah. And two things happened that day. My daughter and I are like this now. But it also had her confront her issues. She never popped not one more thing after that. She always said that I was the strongest woman she ever knew. but she didn't know why. So she felt that if I can go through what I went through, raising 3 kids on my own, and still be standing, she said she can do anything she put her mind to. So like I said, I will suffer through anything to see my kids never have to go through anything that I've been through. But to be able to get closure on that part of my life, I never get it unless I find it and build it for myself. So that is the reason why I chose to go ahead and tell my story. Because not only is it healing me, I'm hoping to be able to heal and help others. I know my story isn't, you know, the only one. There are many, many, many people that have gone through some sort of abuse in their life. And they have no one to tell, no one to talk to. But if you're listening right now and you're hurting and you're questioning or doubting yourself, if you fear alone, hear me clearly. You are not weak for surviving. You're not broken. You have a voice. And you're not crazy for being confused on if you feeling like you should stay or you should go, or having to be worried about, your life. But if you stay silent, your healing can never begin. I need a second.
Not a problem. Um, Sorry, y'all. This is really, this is really emotional. This is a lot. So, like Mel was saying, there are so many resources out there right now, and if you don't trust and it's hard. I know it's hard to trust anybody. It's hard to trust the system. It's hard to trust, but reach out to someone. Someone just said, I always say lesbians are not born, men create them.
I have a
Sorry.
couple of friends that have said the same thing. I was saying, yes, have said the same thing. I'm sorry, y'all.
Nothing to apologize for, darling.
About what I've been through and where I am now, can nobody take that away from me.
Never.
Nobody can take that away from me, regardless of if you like me, if you don't. I really don't give a damn, because you have not walked a mile in my shoes. And
Right
no,
there.
leaving is not an act of weakness. And it's not anything to be ashamed about. I still have a long way to go in my eyes. But as long as I can look in my daughter's eyes and all of my grandkids' eyes and know I did everything in my power to make sure they didn't have to go through anything I've gone through, All this shit was worth it.
You broke the cycle,
All this
darling.
healing, all this pain, all of it. Every last bit of it was worth everything I've been through.
Not only are you a
And
survivor, but you broke the
yeah,
cycle.
right. I would never let, I would never be that way. I can't even stand to hear when something happens to someone else's child, some other woman. I can't stand it. It hurts me to my core. And to know the sick people that are out here in this world right now, all I want to do ever is just walk up and hug a child, hug a woman that's going through shit, that's being tested, that's being made to feel like she's nothing. But your worth does not decrease because somebody else can't see it. Learn to see it in yourself. If you don't love
Amen.
nobody, love yourself enough. Don't let nobody else's inability to see the value in yourself make you feel like you're not worthy. I'm sorry.
Don't ever apologize. You have nothing to apologize for.
There are so many women that I would love to be able to connect with that I know are having issues, having problems, don't know where to turn. And I wish I had that. Healing does take time, but move at your pace, not someone else's, not a therapist, nobody else's, but your own pace. You know what you've been through. But always know you are not alone. If anyone needs to reach out to me, I'm more than happy to listen, to help in any possible way I can.
I
But no
co-sign
matter
that.
what, don't forget about you, yourself, your self-love, yourself. Don't forget about you. If you have to, see, I had to reinvent my own identity because I was always someone's mom, someone's daughter, their sister, aunt, their friend. But who was Mel? I don't I don't know. When people ask me, what do I like to do? I don't know. I haven't done anything in my life really. Because I was always taking care of someone else. But no one was taking care of me. But now I know that I have to take care of myself because ain't nobody else gonna do it. So I started with self-love. I started
Extra just said,
figuring out,
don't ever be. Extra just said in the comments, don't ever be sorry.
I'm working on that. My whole life, I've always had to apologize for even taking a breath. So I'm working on that. I know my friends always tell me, stop saying you're sorry. It's just a habit. But
Yep,
thank
it's
you.
hard to break out of.
I started healing doing just small things. I realized I loved music. I realized I liked arts and crafts. But the one thing that I realized I really love doing is writing. So I held on to those things in stressful times, in those days that I just couldn't get my past out of my head. I turned on my music, or I did one of my little crafts. Writing took a minute for me to get into because the therapist I did have at one time told me to write a letter to my younger self and write a letter to get it all out. Which I was like, well, ain't that what you for? But every time I would try to write that letter or write down my past, I couldn't do it. Just writing it and reliving it hurt. So the things I'm still learning, like I mentioned before, is how to say no. I still have to learn how to set boundaries. I'm still learning, though, to listen to that, into my intuition about red flags, when something's good for me, when something's not good for me. How to take up space without apologizing for it. And another thing is that I'm still learning that I deserve to be happy. I just don't know what that feels like yet. And I feel like I might have been happy and I just didn't know it. But I don't want to miss the opportunity of taking my last breath on this earth, not knowing what that feels like at least one time. So my goals at this point is, like I said, I chose to do this to pretty much just heal myself, because like I said, I have no one to talk to, and no one really to be able to tell these things to that wouldn't throw it back up in my face, you know. But now I'm just on the journey to remind women of their worth. Never let anybody steal your shine, ever. Wear your crown as if you were born with it, because you were.
Yep, and
To
as
put,
women, we need to start being our sister's keeper. We need to stop. We need to be straightening each other's crowns and stop trying to knock them off each other's heads.
um, so that other women know that healing is possible. It's possible. It's just gonna take some time, and
Millie
that
says,
I
keep
am
working
proof
on
that,
it.
huh?
Millie says, keep working on it. I feel you will have the happiness you are looking for soon.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I keep praying for it. I keep praying for it. Um, like I was gonna say, I also want women to know that I am proof that there is life after abuse. I
I
know
know
it
when
is.
you're gonna feel the happiness. You're gonna feel the happiness once that book is out and everybody is buying it. Y'all, I'm telling you, make sure that you go and I'm halfway through the book right now, and the only reason why I haven't finished is because I've been so caught up in so much other things. But every opportunity I get, I'm skimming through the pages. I'm special. I got to pre-read it before I went out, but I'm still gonna buy a copy once it goes out. She
Almost
is writing a
definitely.
book.
All my sisters will get a autographed copy and specially delivered to them.
And all of us are
Um,
going to pay for it because that's how you support. people, friends, family that are doing business, you don't ask for freebies. You pay and be the example.
Yeah.
Extra says you are healing just talking, just by talking.
Yeah. And it's weird because I am telling my story on social media of all places. But I felt that was the best way to reach, you know, a lot of people, you know, um, because I know how I felt, and I wish someone had reached out to me, like to let me know that my story, you know, was not the only story. You know, I felt like I was going through this. I was the only person in the world going through this show, not realizing there are millions of other people going through similar situations. Um, I know that
Mm.
we're,
Me-
um,
We got another comment saying that it's the healing. It's sorry, that comment kind of flashed by, but basically saying sharing your testimony with others, that's your calling, and that is also a part of your healing.
that I'm on the right track, that I'm
The
doing, and
healing that
hopefully achieving what I set out to do. You know, I don't, everyone has their opinion. Like I said, and and for me to honestly, those are people that must ain't never been through nothing or don't want to admit that they've been through anything. But don't tear down the next person because they have or they didn't leave when you felt that they should leave. You have a right to your opinion, but walk in somebody else's shoes or go through these things and see how you feel. See how your perception changes. Um,
oh, and just to throw a
everyone,
plug in, y'all,
mm,
everybody out that's watching, Mel is a host of the she does host a show here on Lux Radio every morning, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m., the morning kickstart. She gives a lot of educational information, a lot of Black history. She does news, like, and not just like news in her area. She gives you news all over the world because she'd be telling me things in Canada that I don't even know, the weather, everything. So yeah, you guys, 8 a.m. morning kickstart. Support our sister Mel.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, I hope that
Someone Gogo
we'll,
Loop says hello, family.
well, hello, brother. um, I'm hoping that if I've just reached one person from the last show to this one, to give them something to think about in their own life of what they may be going through or what have been gone through, or how to help someone else, it's been worth it. That was my intention. Um,
You know what we need to do?
hmm,
We need to build a sister support circle. Like really and truly, like we need to build some kind of
I'm,
sister
I'm
support circle,
I'm
like,
down with that.
a group where we can all just, you know, check in on each other and support, you don't have to be up in everybody's business, but just
Right.
like women helping women,
Hmm.
supporting each
Hmm.
other because damn, it's hard being a woman these days. Well, it's always hard being a woman because you
Yeah.
got to be a woman, you got to be a man, you got to, you got to be tough, but you also got to be soft. You got to, oh God, it's exhausting.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I do like that idea, that concept, because a lot of women out there will, I believe, will come together, come to the community, because if they haven't been through anything, themselves, they'll be more than willing to help someone else. Um, if it's
Oh, the,
nothing
yeah,
but
the pride, yeah.
a underground railroad for women helping each other in any, in every part of any kind of situation. So um,
But
I just want
one of the sad things is, unfortunately, is like when you try to do that, is that women, we tend to be each other's biggest enemies.
well, I just think that those are women that they feel like they have something to prove. Because a real friend gonna love you no matter what,
That is
unconditionally.
true.
You know what I mean?
That is
And
true.
I'm glad that I have, women in my life right now that love me for who I am, despite my past. You know, and I
Your
thank
past did
y'all,
not
and I love
define you.
y'all, and I thank y'all, and I love y'all because I couldn't have gotten this far without you. Little do y'all know, you know, y'all give me strength to just keep going. You know, um, I never believed I was resilient or strong. You know, no matter even I kept trying to say them, the affirmations to myself. I didn't believe it. I didn't feel it. You know, but when it comes from someone that I care about and I know they won't they wouldn't do anything to hurt me, hurt my feelings or anything, it hits different, you know. And, I'm here to support y'all just like y'all been here to support me. You see me at my worst and you have yet to see me at my best. But I know no matter what, y'all gonna be standing right beside me when I do get there. Because I'm taking y'all with me.
Right there. Listen, I'm gonna start being your daily affirmation. I'm gonna wake you up every morning, call you and say like, what I would like I'm sitting there. Like, I don't know if you remember that old Saturday Night Live thing. I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me.
They really
Listen,
You
I
know
know
what?
I haven't known you for that long, but for the time that I have known you, it's felt like I've known you for most of my life. You've become like a sister to me. You motivate me to want to do better. And I've learned, even just from our conversation these last two episodes, I've learned so much from you. And like I said, I want to be like you when I grow up. I got a lot of growing up to do. Y'all know I'm immature as hell, but I'm working on it.
Well, you know what? And I know somebody asked earlier, like, where am I at pretty much now in my life? And it's crazy because I laugh at it now because I can, but everybody has seen The Color Purple, right? And it's one line in that movie that because I watch it still every Sunday. I'm gonna watch some portion of that movie.
Someone
But when
says keep smiling, it looks
see,
good on you.
huh?
Someone says keep smiling, it looks good on you.
Well, I thank you. Thank you very much. But when
We're all a
Sid
work in progress.
told Mister, until you do right by me, everything you think about is gonna fail. That's how I am right now.
Oh shit, I'm Miss Sealy too, but I'm like, I may be black, I may be ugly, but I'm
God's
here.
here. Damn, God's here. Man, that's how I feel right now. That's
Hmm.
where I've brought myself. That's where I've gotten to in my healing journey. I still have some way to go, like I said, but I'm nowhere near where I was before. And I just want women out there to know that um, it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time, but you can do it. You can do it.
I'm tr yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm on my healing journey, but I still got a lot of Sophia in me. I will knock over that juke joint and knock people out. I'm trying though. I'm trying.
Yeah. Yeah. You're still here. We're still here, and we're still rising. And
Yep.
I'm
Someone just said
still
we're
in
all under
my,
construction.
huh?
Someone just said we're all under construction.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Most definitely. I'm still in my becoming her season. So day by day, breath by breath, that's what I'm living for. To becoming her. And that her, she's unstoppable. She's a survivor.
Becoming her, that is Mel's, that is her brand. That is her brand. And there's a lot that falls under the umbrella of that brand. And more
Yeah.
information will come out later because me and her, we got a lot of things to talk about as I'm going through my glow area, Glow by Gemini. That will be coming out soon as well. We
Well,
got a lot that's going to be coming in.
I just want to say thank you, Jim, for letting me tell my story and letting me be able to share um, my journey into becoming who I am. And you can't judge a book by its cover. We all know that. So no one would have known anything I've ever been through if I didn't share it. Because I've learned how to wear that mask well, you know. I had no choice. But I just want to thank you for giving me this time to share with everyone and hopefully reach other people to let them know that you're not alone, you're worth it, you know. Um, we're here, I'm here. You can just reach out to me. Um, if you need help, if you need just someone to listen to vent to, a shoulder to cry on, I've been there. You know, I
Shit,
did
you've
leave
been
a
there
lot
for me
out,
enough
you know.
times.
Yeah, I did leave a lot out, but
It will
there's
be in the
really
book.
nothing that I haven't heard before. Nothing shocks me. So, um,
Darling, that's what this platform is for. Like I said before, like I appreciate the people that tune in and are here and but this platform is mainly like, it's to share information, it's to connect with people, but it's also to help on your healing journey because talking, we all have so much things pent up inside of us that when
mhm.
we talk about it, when we're like, it actually makes you feel a little bit lighter.
Yes, 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 yes. I mean, since the first show, um, I have felt like such a burden has been lifted off of me. Like I've been walking under this black cloud for so long. Um, and now I see the sun, you know. And we always ask and wonder what is our purpose? What is my purpose in life? I don't know, you know. But from the last show, I kind of felt like this was it. I had to go through
Living in your purpose.
everything that I went through, even if it was just to help that one person and staying in
And I'm
my
sure
truth.
you've helped
So,
more than one. And I'm sure that you've helped more than one person because I've had quite a few people reach out to me and,
mm,
you know, you've helped me in so many ways, like I can't even explain it.
mm,
I just want to take a minute to give a shout out to all the people that are here and the people that have been popping in all the comments. I can't see all of the comments, but I do see the Militant family, Millie, um, one extra, Sam Scott. I see you there. Go Go Loops. I'm assuming that's Chief. Is that Chief?
mm-hmm. Go loops,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. So I see. Yeah, so I see Chief. We got J.A.B Entertainment in the back saying, I wish a motherfucker would, so we know who that is. So my brother Devereaux, Poppin' Vengeance. Love you, bro. I see you, brother. Shannon, and everyone that's there. We don't see all the comments, unfortunately, but we know you're there, and we appreciate all of you.
I want to thank everyone for watching. If you're here on the live or if you're watching later on at another time, thank you for watching. I hope to help um, shed some light on some things that maybe a lot of people didn't know happened or didn't want to admit that happened, or give somebody some courage to help someone that they know that's going through these things, and also to you know enlighten people on what children go through and how it can strategically affect their whole life, like mine did. It's affected me my whole life in so many different ways, so many different aspects of life, to what I thought was real, to my beliefs. You see, how they usually say, if you see something, say something. If you see something, do something. You know, no child should have to suffer. We shouldn't have to be burying our children. We shouldn't have to be burying our sisters, our brothers. We shouldn't have to be burying anyone, especially to domestic violence.
That's right. And anyone who
I
needs
thank you all.
resources, support, anybody who needs resources, support, you can always reach out to me, send a DM. We will find you those resources. We will find you support. We will find that. And Extra says, we got you, Mel. So y'all can always, Mel is, you can follow her on Instagram. You want to give everybody your Instagram, your TikTok name?
All Facebook, Instagram, TikTok is all Mell B. Hmm.
And if you can't find her, just go on my page if you're following me and you can find her from there.
Oh
Because,
yeah, I'll get the message.
and
Definitely. And
again,
thank everyone.
she's
Thank everyone.
Mel is
And
also Mel is also very involved with Lux Radio. You want to tell everybody your position here in Lux Radio and what you do here?
I am the corporate operations manager for J.A.B Entertainment and Lux Radio. Yep. So I
And
kind
she's the
of
host
like,
of the Kickstart with Mel.
yep. And I have my morning kick show, Mell B's Morning Kickstart, Monday through Friday, every day, pretty much. Because I'm working every day. So, the grind don't stop.
And
I
y'all
keep
make
myself
sure on the
busy.
23rd of December, Millie, I know it's your birthday that day as well, so um, I'll be popping into your birthday live. But on the 23rd of December, it's the Lux Radio. I wouldn't even say it's a concert, it's a Christmas
Christmas
event.
concert. Yeah, Christmas concert.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah, it's going to be a concert, but it's going to be an event because it's not all about singing. There's going to be a lot of things going on here, you know.
yeah,
And y'all, just to see my costume alone, you need to come through because you know me already, right?
yeah. We'll all be in
Have an
costume.
amazing
So
night.
yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming through and listening and being supportive. I really appreciate it. I truly, truly do, from the bottom of my heart. And like I said, I hope I help someone. Thank
I'm
you.
sure you did. And y'all, so next week, next Friday, 7 p.m. here, my guest is going to be Mika Nicole, and she's going to be sharing yet another emotional story. It's another Sister Connect again. So make sure you guys tune in. I will be putting that information on that soon. Mel, again, I want to thank you for coming through and for
You're
sharing your
welcome.
story.
Thank
I know it
you.
was really hard, and I
Yeah.
appreciate you. And as you know, sisters for life, girl. Sisters for life.
Love you too.
Have yourself a blessed night, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Live and learn with Gemini Goddess every Friday night, 7 p.m. And if you have a story or an experience that you would like to share that you know that can help to motivate others, or if you just want to get it off your chest, someone, a safe space to talk, reach out. We're booking people for the month of February. So send a DM. Have a blessed night, everyone.
Bye.